Hey everyone, it's Kelsey here and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to stretch out your braiding hair. So this is the hair that I'm going to be using. As you can see, it's not pre-stretched at all. And for those of you who don't know what pre-stretched means, it's basically when the ends are feathered and layered like this. And not blunt like this one. So most companies nowadays sell hair that's already pre-stretched because it's just a more popular thing now. But there's still some companies out there that haven't caught onto that bandwagon yet, and that's okay. So I'm going to show you guys what to do to stretch it out yourself. Because I'm sure as every braider knows, you can't braid hair with blunt ends because the ends will unravel and there's really no way to seal them properly. So for me personally, I find it easier to break the pack in half and just work half at a time. It just makes it easier for me. So the first method that I use, I just call it the pull method. So I just take one end of the hair and let the rest of the pack fall, and I just hold the ends and pull out little tiny pieces at a time. So ideally I would like to just pull one strand at a time, but obviously I'm going to be pulling a little bit more than that as I'm going along. The point is you don't want your ends to be even. That's what the enemy of braiding is, blunt ends. So as I'm doing this, I make sure to constantly comb my fingers through the hair to make sure that I'm not getting any bunching, because that would happen. Especially with this brand that I'm using the hair from the Vivica A. Fox collection, and it is very dry and coarse, and it's one of those brands that I don't like to use anymore, but I am a hair hoarder, so I have so many random brands of hair at my house, so I'm just trying to use them out now that I know which brands I prefer more. So yeah, that's basically all there is to it. I'm just going to pull some strands longer than the other until it looks really nice and frayed, basically. If you want, you can use a paddle brush or a Denman brush to brush out your hair afterwards to make sure that you have no tangles. I'm not using it with this hair because it's not as soft as I would like it to be, so I'm just using my fingers. But it's staying pretty detangled as it is, so I think I'm okay. But you can use a brush as well if you'd like, but you do lose a little bit of hair when you use the brush, but that's not really a big deal. So once I feel like my ends are all nice and feathered, I just fold the hair back in half again, and then I kind of comb through the other end, and hopefully it would be nice and feathered like the other half is. As you can see, I didn't get that here, so I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. But that's basically the method. Just pull a couple strands at a time, as close to one strand as you can, until your ends are completely tapered and uneven, and it looks like you are holding a bundle rather than a pack of braiding hair. So here are how my ends are looking right now. This is the idea of what you're trying to go for. Just really uneven, tapered, feathered off. So this way you know that you'll get your braids to seal when you're done braiding your hair. So the other method I'm going to show you guys, I honestly just made this up one day, but it works for me. I don't think it works as well as a pulling method, but it does something. So basically you're holding your hair in half, so you have it looped around your hand. And I'm going to just take a little piece of hair right from the middle and pull it apart. And then come back and grab maybe off to the right side a little bit and pull that apart. And then I'm going to go to the left. So basically every time I pull a few strands of hair away, I'm going to grab again from a different part of the hair. But not so off where I'm going all the way to one end of the hair, you know what I mean? Like I'm staying in the same vicinity, but I'm just pulling from a different spot every time, so that as I go through this, the ends are going to fall uneven. So this is how the ends are looking so far. It's hard to see against this shirt, but it's a little bit tapered now. So you know, the more that I do this, the more uneven it's gonna come to be. So here are the ends now that I'm done. And sometimes to feather just a little bit more, I would break that section in half and pull that apart, and then flip my one hand around, put it back together, Then do that again, break it, flip my hand. Basically, it's just a whole bunch of random motions going on here. It's kind of like when you're shuffling a deck of cards and you just go over and over doing the same thing until you feel like now you have that perfect deck of cards. That's kind of what I do when I do this method. I just keep breaking it and pulling it apart and putting it back together in random ways until I feel like it is properly shuffled or tapered or feathered, whatever you want to call it. As you can see, I do have a couple pieces that are way too long, but you can easily fix that as you're preparing your hair for your actual braiding project. But for the most part, this is the look that we're going for. It's hard to get it to be as nice and feathered as when it gets done at a factory, but this is pretty good for now. So here are my two packs put together. It's not nearly as blunt as it was when we first started, so now it is much easier to use this hair for braiding. So that is it for this video. Hope you guys found this helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!